such a shame that this band doesn't get enough credit. Let's change that, shall we? Hello everyone, I'm Von the Stampede, and today we are looking into the music career of Living Colour. Living Colour is an American band formed in 1984 in New York, New York. The band music is influenced by heavy metal, funk, jazz, hip-hop, punk, and alternative rock. Living Colour lyrics range from political views and social commentary on racism in America. They are most known for their signature hit, Cult of Personality. The name Living Colour used the British spelling of colour, spelled C-O-L-C-U-R. Vernon Rees went under another name called Vernon Rees Living Colour, formed in 1984 to 1986, but changed the name of the band to Living Colour. Living Colour original lineup consists of 4 members. Vernon Reed on lead guitar and guitar synthesis and backing vocals.
Started in 1983, and I've been playing with Ronald Shannon Jackson in sort of a progressive improvising context. I got to this point where I really needed to make a break and at least see what was in here, you know?
Corey Glover on lead vocals, occasional rhythm guitar, and tambourine.
I was like a working actor for 7 years, like doing the rounds. Or you have to know the latest trend or the latest dance craze, so you can do these commercials for some silly-ass peanut butter commercial, or it was a grind, but I loved it. I had a really good time because I was actually doing something that I loved to do and realized that that was where my niche was, that I wanted to be a performer and do anything to be a performer.
I don't know. I'd go to college.
Me too.
If I had the money.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do?
I don't know. What are you gonna do? Vernon called me up to audition for the band. No one ever told me that I didn't have the job. It was like I was rehearsing and rehearsing and rehearsing. I think this was after I got back from doing Platoon, and I came back and I was doing all this rehearsing. But I still don't know whether I got the job or not. That's what it is. I'm still waiting to hear from somebody to tell me I got the job.
This is all great and shit.
Will Calhoun on drums and backing vocals.
I was touring with Harry Belafonte on and off, mostly doing like Vegas, Denver, and Atlantic City and stuff like that. I had my own band. I was trying to get my band in New York. And he called me for a gig. I went out to Brooklyn that afternoon, rehearsed all day, packed everything in my van. That's where I met Corey. There was a different bass player at that time. We drove out to Maxwell's in Hoboken, New Jersey, and that was my first gig with Living Colour.
And Muzz Skillets on bass and backup vocals.
My father was a fire chief, so I took the test, scored really high, took the written part, and then it was funny because, I mean, literally I went back and forth because I could see living either way.
So I said to him, listen, whenever you make a decision, just let me know what you're gonna do.
Just let me down easy.
Really? No, you know, it would have been rude if he just came in with a hat. Came in with a fire hat and a big axe on his belt. Yo, guys, man, I'm gonna do this rehearsal today, but I got a job after this.
There's a big alarm down on Wall Street I gotta go to.
I tell you though, I tell you.
His overcoat, the big huge red hat with a number on it.
Man, when Muzz called me up, to say that, it was like 2 things, you know. It was like, number 1, he had passed the fire exam. I mean, he passed his final exam, and essentially he could be a fireman. And then he said, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna stay with the band. That, I was so happy. You know, I tried to contain my glee.
Fun fact, before Glover joined the band, he did some acting gigs, such as being in commercials and being in the war film Platoon.
We two-timers, man. We gonna get out of here, boy. I'm gonna see you in the hospital. We gonna get a high. Yes, sir.
They soon hired managers Jim Grant and Roger Kramer. Soon after, Living Colour became more experienced in touring and performing in regular gigs at the club called CBGB. In May 3rd, 1988, Living Colour released their debut album, Vivid. It reached number 6 on the Billboard 200 and number 2 on the Norwegian album charts. Vivid has 5 singles: Funny Vibe, Open Letter to the Landlord, Glamour Boys, Middleman, and their most popular hit, Cult of Personality. Not everything was running smoothly for Living Colour. They have faced a lot of discrimination because, well, they were a black rock and roll band while the other rock bands were white.
One thing about the band from the time it began up to now is there have been a lot of voices from friends and from people that were not friends that would say, you should do something different, or this music is not, we're not going to understand what you're trying to say. And through it all, and with the 4 of us, all through the things we've went through with a lot of rejection, we all said, well, we're still going to do what we want to do. And eventually, it got us to this point, which is not the top of the world, but it's not the bottom of the world either. We're getting a chance to do what we really want to do. And there's no price tag on that, because a lot of people go through their whole lives and never do what they really want to do, and that's frightening.
Yeah, there was some struggle to it. There was some issues coming up against the industry saying, yeah, but you guys don't sound like your typical rock band. Well, what's your definition of what a rock band sounds like? You know, that rock and roll in its inception was supposed to be about freedom. It was supposed to be about, you know, just expression. Music in itself is about expression. So why not experience what we experience through our music? So there was always that thing in the background, and there was always that issue, like when we would walk into places and come up against people like, what kind of band are you? And the question then was, why don't you tell us what kind of band we are? You see what you look at us and you say what kind of band it is. And we get everything but a rock band. And which sort of proved our point, that we are much more than some box that you decide to put us in.
In 1992, Living Colour released their second album, Time's Up, which had elements of hip-hop, jazz fusion, punk, and Delta blues. Time's Up featured musical guests like Queen Latifah, Dougie Fresh, Marco Parker, and Little Richard. Time's Up featured 5 videos from the album, that is Type, Time's Up, Love Rears Ugly Head, Elvis is Dead, and Silence of You.
Well, no one will care. I've got the solace of you.
Unfortunately, their bass player Muzz Killers would leave the group after the album and would be replaced with Doug Wittenbush. In March 2nd, 1993, Living Colour released their third album, Stain. Stain features generally heavier sound with more optimistic themes, and the song represents a range of genres. It reached number 26 on the Billboard 200. Also, another fun fact, their third album during the mid-90s and early 2000s, Stain would go out of print. Due to the rights issues after the lawsuits from John Steinbrück, Sony was forced to cease production of the album until 2013, where Stain was reissued. Stain features 4 videos from the album: Bye, Leave It Alone, Asudalander, and Nothingness.
Everybody wants you and your life. Nothingness.
In 1994, Living Colour performed their own version of Cream's Sunshine of Your Love. It was featured on the True Lies soundtrack. Sadly, Living Colour split in 1995 due to failing to settle a common musical session. Living Colour will release their fourth studio album called Pride, which was just a greatest hits album. On oldies.com, this is what Vernon Reid had to say about Living Colour's departure. Quote, Living Colour's sense of unity and purpose was growing weaker and fuzzier. I was finding more and more creative satisfaction in my solo projects. Finally, it became obvious that I had to give up on the band and move on. End quote. The members of Living Colour have done their own body of work, such as Vernon Reid releasing a solo album, 1996, Mistaken Identity, and featured on other artists' recordings. Glover will release his solo project, Heems, in 1998, and appeared in a movie called Loose Women. Calhoun and Wimbush formed a band called Jungle Funk. Singer and songwriter and former athlete Vince Dijon Perriet would also join the band. Jungle Funk will release their debut album Jungle Funk in 1998. Wimbush would release his solo project Trippy Notes for bass. Both Calhoun and Wimbush team up with Glover with another project by forming another band named Head Fake. On the other hand, Mud Skillets would return to the band on occasion to substitute for their current bass player, Doug Wimbush. Skillets has since led a band called Medicine Stick, in which he plays electric guitar, sings lead vocals, as well as writes songs, and has done other solo projects. In 2000, Living Colour reformed but didn't release any new albums until 2003. Kaleidoscope would be their fifth studio album. It would be their first studio album under a decade. The album featured aggressive lyrics, as many of the songs were about the September 11 attacks. It also contained covers of AC/DC's Back in Black and the Beatles' Tomorrow Never Knows. While critically praised, Kaleidoscope is the band's first album that failed to chart. In 2009, Living Colour would release their sixth album, The Chair in the Doorway, which did better than their previous album, Kaleidoscope. The Chair in the Doorway sold more than 2,800 copies and ranked 161 on the Billboard 200. In 2011, the band's most hit song, Cult of Personality, got some new exposure as it was used as the entrance music for professional wrestler CM Punk. In 2013, Living Colour performed the song live during Punk's entrance at WrestleMania 29. Living Colour will release their seventh album, Shade, on September 8, 2017. Shade ranked at number 12 on the US Top Hard Rock Album Billboard charts. The album includes 10 originals and 3 covers. Robert Johnson Preaching Blues, Notorious B.I.G.'s Who Shot Ya, and Marvin Gaye's Inner City Blues.
Money, we make it, before we see it.
Shade has gone through a lot of delays for a lot of reasons. On the making of Shade, Glover explained to Livewire in June 2016, quote, "It took us almost 4 years to make this record. We went through a lot of problems with managers, with the record companies, and schedules. It just took us forever, and finally, we got it done. I can't wait to get that process over with so I can go back and start on working on new stuff again. Personally, I just started to write new things. Part of the process was that we weren't going to compromise on a lot of stuff. There were some sonic things that we aren't going to compromise on. We needed to get it right. It took long enough, so hopefully it's right. I mean, we still have to fix things, right? To us, it's that you don't go, if only I had done this. At the same time, there's something about discovering something as you play it that changes it, and that makes the difference between the record version and the live version. Cult of Personality Live doesn't sound the way it was recorded because we've been playing it for mostly 30 years, and it changes based on the environment. I think we're satisfied with Shay for what it is as a recording." End quote. Living Colour is an amazing band who just doesn't play rock and roll. They can play all kind of genres of jazz, reggae, R&B, and etc. They won 2 Grammy Awards for Best Hard Rock Performance in 1990 and again in 1991. Their songs has been on multiple video games such as Grand Theft Auto and Guitar Hero series. And they really had something to say, whether they were talking about the lyrics about racism in the music industry, young men obsessed with aspects of high society, or the racial stereotyping. Today they are still torn. The only thing I'm upset about with Living Colour is that they still haven't been inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Also check out Rock and Roll True Stories, where they talk about Living Colour and the story of Vivid on how they all got connected with Mick Jagger and how Cult of Personality became the iconic song that it is today. So check that video out. Even if you don't like rock and roll, you should still check out these brothers because they are very talented. Hey everyone, this is Von the Stampede. This is my first video of 2020. I'm sorry this video has been like so late. I've been working on my new job and I really don't have the time to like, edit or work on new stuff, but hope this is good for you. And don't forget to comment, share, like this video. I really would appreciate it. I'm Von the Stampede and I will see you guys next time. Ciao.